Over the last 5 years, APD has averaged about 3,300 uh, calls where there was a mental health component that we can show, whether that's a crisis response or someone calling for services or some sort of referral. Oftentimes we get calls from family saying, "Hey, I have a family member, I have a friend, I think they need some help. Can you check on them? Can you help me?" Because people don't know who to turn to a lot. In 2020, there was about a 28% increase in those crisis type of calls and contacts.
I am the team lead for the Intercept Program at Texas Panhandle Centers. We are a team of mental health professionals, and we correspond with the Amarillo Police Department's crisis intervention team to mental health related 911 calls. So we spend about 40 hours a week in the police car with a crisis intervention officer, and then together as a team we decide what we need to do. So sometimes that will involve taking somebody to the hospital for treatment.
I do mental health hearings for the entire Panhandle, except for Randall County. We have several a week, sometimes 20, sometimes 25. So if the person is brought into the pavilion, they stay there under the doctor's orders, and then they send us the paperwork. My office gets the paperwork. I do the final hearing, and I decide whether or not they go to the state hospital or whether they stay at the pavilion or whether they go home.
Ultimately, our goal is to prevent people from having to go to the hospital or even to jail.
Jail diversion has become a more of a conversation in the last probably 4 to 5 years. That the statistics show that there are a lot of mentally ill folks that would be better suited by receiving services versus being incarcerated for what's often petty crimes.
They don't belong in jail. They just do not belong in jail because they're not criminals. They are not. They are sick. They are sick individuals, and they don't even know they're breaking the law. I mean, we're talking trespassing. They don't belong in jail. They belong in a separate facility where they get the help that they need.
We want people to know that there's a lot of help out there, and we're just a small component of all the resources available. We just usually end up getting called when things have gone from bad to worse.
The large-scale epidemiological studies that came out in the last 10 years have shown very definitively that half of all mental illnesses, mostly anxiety, depression, begin before age 14. So by half of the lifetime prevalence, the number of people who are going to manifest a mental illness have had it start before age 14. Another 25% by the time your brain's done developing in your mid-20s. So about 75% of mental illnesses begin before you're fully an adult. The problem is we don't detect and begin to help people until on average 10 years after symptoms begin, because that's when we notice it. That's when things are going bad, and we can't pretend like nothing's wrong anymore and we need to do something.